Hi, and welcome to another Seeking Asylum review here at Terribly Fun Films. Today we're looking at the slasher film The Legend of Bloody Jack from 2007, which is a little bit before the asylum got higher grade equipment and slightly bigger budgets than they're used to. All that is to say, this movie looks and feels about what most people expect when they hear early asylum movie. But does that make it bad? Good? Somewhere in between? Let's find out. The Legend of Bloody Jack sees a few couples and a friend going on a camping trip. We start off with them being told the story of Bloody Jack by one of the people in this group who heard it from a local gas station owner when they last filled up for gas. No one believes him, of course, and they're all severely mistaken as Bloody Jack shows up and starts killing people off. Not in quick order, though, sadly. That's really, there is all to the plot, by the way. It's called The Legend of Bloody Jack. It's about a slasher going after teens in the woods. Plot is very basic. You can probably already guess the kind of characters you're going to see, the kind of deaths you're going to see, and who dies and how. The movie is only 85-90 minutes long, but it's very slow to start. We spend a lot of time with these characters. I don't really care about them all that much. There is a death 20-ish minutes into the movie, but that's the only one for the next 30 minutes after that, where everybody's trying to deal with what's going on and figure it out. Then another death happens, and they discover that body, and then the sort of mayhem actually kicks in. But none of these characters are likable, none of them are interesting, none of them do anything all that engaging or smart. So spending 30 minutes with them where they're not being killed off is a kind of a long sit. Sadly, this is not helped by the acting. This is one of those movies where you're gonna watch because you're a hardcore horror fan, and you're gonna watch because you want to see the gruesome kills, and it's a horror film you haven't seen before. That's it. The acting in this movie is bad across the board, with one supporting character exception. Our main teens are all really, really bad. They're given really ridiculous dialogue and really unbelievable dialogue and lines to spout out, so that's part of the problem. But none of them seem fully committed to their characters. It feels sort of like a elementary school play in that regard. Yes, the kids are trying. They're doing their best. But they're kids. They don't totally understand how to properly inhabit another person's character because they don't totally understand who they themselves are yet. That's sort of how this movie's acting feels. Playing douchebag Nick is Greg Bonacorsi, and he's every irritating douchebag you pray to die in every single horror movie you've ever seen. He's irritating and annoying. Given perhaps the most well-rounded performance in the movie, but still not totally feeling completely 100% believable, is Erica Hogue? I'm not sure, as Dawn. She's okay. She has a few moments, especially when she's pleading for her friend's life, not even hers, that almost work, but not. She never totally sells up everything. Playing George is John Kowalski. I don't even remember who the character of George is. I just watched this movie the other day, and I don't know who we're talking about. playing Lisa is Jessica Szabo? Szabo. Help me pronounce that, people. She's alright. She's fairly good at the fake death scream stuff when her character is being killed by Bloody Jack. She does deliver some pretty genuine sounding scares. Outside of that, though, she's really dull. She tries her hardest, I think, but she's kind of boring. We, of course, have a series of other people, but if I just went through and listed everybody who played a character in this movie and what I thought of them, it'd be very repetitive. Dull, boring, not that convincing, but this one scene worked with them well, that kind of thing. Outside of Erica Hogue, who tries until we get there, there's one performance I liked. That is from Deputy Ranger Vance, played by Jeremy Flynn. He's fun. He's very no-nonsense, very authoritative. I think he works really well. I think he's able to overcome the shortcomings in the script and bring some life and energy to the movie that the other cast members did not do. Being written and directed by Todd Portugal, the movie's a mixed bag. As you heard me mention, the dialogue is not that realistic or interesting. It doesn't really flesh out the characters. It doesn't really keep you engaged at all. The directing, on the other hand, is okay. Once the slasher antics amp up, starting at about the 55-minute mark for most of the rest of the film, he does a fairly good job. There's some nice editing, a really cool foot chase sequence through the woods. That's probably the best sequence in the movie. But before that, he struggles to maintain a sense of atmosphere or dread. The movie's never creepy. The movie's never... You never feel your characters are in any real danger. There's no sense of threat emanating from anywhere in the directing. And that's set because I've seen earlier Asylum movies from other directors who have been able to pull that kind of a thing off. The cinematography by Daniel Kozman is alright. There's a few weird lighting things where things look washed out. Probably due to the natural sunlight that they're shooting in a lot of the time. A good portion of the movie takes place in the daylight, which does help give it a different vibe, but that's not enough to sustain itself. That's kind of all I got. The music's unremarkable, but didn't anger me or make me think, oh, that's a bad score. I just kind of forgot about it after the movie was over. However, I know I just ragged on this movie quite a bit. I was very hard on the movie just now. However, in watching this movie, you and your friends are going to have a good time. It is fun. It's kind of boring at times. The acting isn't that good, and it takes a long time for the killing to start happening, but because of the unlikable characters, because you just are rooting for them to die, because the kills are edited in a way to kind of hide a lot of the more expensive shots. They're amusing to watch, because once the killing does start happening, Bloody Jack at least has a fairly entertaining way of going about things. I've never, while watching the film, I never thought, oh, how did he magically end up on the other side of the road? The film at least plays fair in that regard. If he's 10 feet behind them and they're running and he's only walking, he's not 20 feet behind them. The movie at least keeps it interesting like that. So that's good. You're going to laugh your ass off watching this movie. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.